Hi, my name is John F. White the
Wait a
second.
minute.
I was about
You
to say,
tick
hey, everybody.
you tickled me
Oh,
and
I'm
I
sorry.
stepped out of the frame.
Hi, my name is John F. White the second, and
And I'm Maria Mallory White.
we are the pastor and the co-pastor of Wesley AME Church here in Houston, Texas. And we are standing in the lobby. You know, for real church people, it's called the vestibule, but for everybody else, it's called the church lobby. And we're going to take you on a tour of the new Wesley Church here on 288, facing 288 and Cityscape, 12850 Cityscape Avenue between Orem and Alameda, Genoa. We keep walking down this hall. This is the Little Lamb's Nursery, where we have a space for mothers who are nursing or to drop their young infants off while they worship. In 2022, the church made a decision to sell the current structure to the city, and the city subsequently is going to redevelop that structure into a gospel music museum and an entire entertainment complex and development. And the church then purchased this property, 4 acres of land here on Cityscape, and to build a new ministry and worship complex about a little bit under 20,000 square feet. And so we're excited. We're praying that construction be finished by April, that we can invite the entire community to worship with us. Definitely Easter's the third Sunday in April, and our dedication service is the Saturday before the second Sunday in June, where we invited everyone, people from all over the world. We even have some friends coming all the way from South Africa to celebrate with us, and so we're excited about it. These are more children's church spaces. Priscilla is youth, so Joshua John children's church spaces. This is the Psalmist Room, choir room prep for to get ready for church. Sunday's sermon was I Declare, and it was from the Isaiah passage where God spoke through the prophet Isaiah, and I declare that I'm going to do something new. And so in January, I wanted to make sure, and so I gave everyone who came to church that Sunday, and then those who were worshiping virtually, to write a declaration. What do you want to declare? Faith, joy, hope, peace, um, and so transformation. And so had them write that down, post that. So I want you to make these declarations every day when you walk by this in the mirror. So part of the things that we're trying to help our congregation to see, it's no need of us acting like the things that are happening. We're black folks. We're resilient. We've seen these before. So our parents and grandparents and great grandparents experienced slavery and Jim Crow and second class citizenship. We've been through Trump 1.0, so we'll get through Trump 2.0. But I also think it's an opportunity for us to be even more resilient and for us to be more creative in how we do things. All churches figured out ways to do things differently during the pandemic. It was a crisis. And I think, to me, this is an opportunity for us to figure out how to live differently in this crisis and become better by it.
But 2 Sundays ago, I preached Jesus Wasn't Playing. And that really was a challenging sermon. And it was the Sunday before Martin Luther King Day.
And the inauguration.
And the inauguration. And it was, I excerpted parts of a sermon by that same title from Martin Luther King Jr., Jesus Wasn't Playing. And one of the things that we see in the civil rights movement and in the preaching and theology of Dr. King is what we were talking about. He called it the beloved community. We call it the kingdom of God. And so in that sermon, he challenged hearers, and we challenged our church to understand that we can't respond to hate with hate, and that there is very much power in prayer, power that can even pray the hell out of your enemies. And so we talked about, in that sermon, I talked about the fact that this is not new, just as he said, and that we have our weapons are not carnal, but they're spiritual. And so we have an obligation as the people of God to war with the weaponry that God has prescribed for us. And so one of the things that we're hoping that our church will continue to wrestle with and grow into is the truth that there is a cosmic war going on at all times. And so we need to not act like we don't know, and we need to be able to equip ourselves with the weaponry of the Lord in order to do battle. And that is part of what has anchored our community in resilience and the creativity that it takes to see the ways out of no way that God can make, even in the midst of chaos and genocide. He's done it before. God can do it again.
This is another classroom. It's the Mary and Elizabeth classroom. There'll be a divider, partition wall here to divide these into two separate spaces. And so again, being very intentional in naming classrooms after biblical characters of significance.
What's your favorite thing about Houston?
Very new to Houston.
Man, there's a Papados on every corner. We lived in Miami. I had to go all the way to Atlanta to go to Papados. So I'm just feeling the Papados. I've gained weight. I'm trying to lose weight because I keep going to Papados. Just keep calling my name. The gumbo with the andouille sausage. And so we are just loving. We both lived in Atlanta. And we say that Houston gives us Atlanta of the 90s vibes with a better highway structure.
You better say that.
With a better highway structure.
Yeah, to me, Houston is, it's my newest and most favorite example now of a chocolate city, because, you know, I'm an old Parliament Funkadelic fan, and we've lost a bunch of chocolate cities, but Houston is strongly a chocolate city. I like that. I like that brothers and sisters are thriving in Houston, and I like that there's opportunity in Houston, and I like that there's a diversity beyond just black and white in Houston, and I appreciate that as well. We have young children. We have a son who's 17 and one who is 13, and they are being introduced to the Western side of Black culture, which is very new for those South Floridians that we've raised. But Houston is a good place for them to be as young Black men to see. I think I read somewhere that Houston has the largest number of professional and college educated Black men west of the Mississippi, or maybe at all. And that's a blessing. That's a blessing for our children to see that. We had to be very intentional to place them in such spaces when we were in South Florida, because the Black community was not as prominently on display as it is here in Houston. So I love that Houston's a chocolate city.
Food, I mean, the restaurants, I mean, you can't go wrong. Food, culture is just a great place to be. We're excited about being here.
Cost of living.
What's on your playlist right
now? My R&B playlist. I watched the Luther documentary a couple of weeks ago, and I put my top 10 Luther Vandross songs on my social media Facebook page. And I had members in my church trying to add to my list. I'm like, this is my list. You have your list. Dance with My Father again is not something that I want to do, because I'm not dancing with my father. So that's Luther, just old school R&B, hip hop. Because we have two boys, I am constantly fussing with my boys, helping them understand that LeBron is not better than Jordan.
My playlist, honestly, he mentioned that I'm starting this doctoral program in practical theology. So my playlist is always one of those 200 to 300 page books that I got to read each week.